Good evening, everyone. It is Monday night, which means it's Monday Night Spark. So for tonight's live show, what we're going to be talking about is keeping your training consistent by training smart with proper progression. So are you new to running and you're someone who just goes out there as hard as you can each and every run? Or are you someone who always gets injured every time you try to train for a race? So I know I have been there myself, guilty as charged, in my 49 road races that I've run to date and 21 half marathons. And in this episode, I'm really going to cover 5 training tips that will help you either start to run or train smarter so you don't have to stop running along the way due to suffering an injury. So in this episode, we're going to cover some common questions I hear often, such as how often should I run? How far should you be running? Should you do a run-walk method? So guys, as you're coming on here on the live, just type in live. And if you're watching this on the replay, just type in replay. I need to thank you all first and foremost for the change in schedule these past couple of weeks. Things have been super crazy. I think if anyone did see my post yesterday about how we compared running to being an engine in a car, and I kind of talked about the weekend was filled with drama performances, 3 performances. I had my other daughter's birthday, gave a live runner workshop, which met a bunch of great local runners in the Naugatuck area. So that was super fun. And I'm actually heading out to Denver to present at our national largest conference. Super pumped about that. But I'm leaving, I have to wake up at like 2 a.m. Wednesday morning. So just trying to get everything together, got my poster printed out, doing that presentation, then doing an educational session. So things are a bit crazy over here, and I had to get some runners in today and help them. So I was a little delayed on getting on here. Traditionally, our weekly time will be 8 p.m. I know we had a bunch of new people in the group recently. So if you are new, let me know. Just type in new into the comment box, whether you're watching this on the live or the replay. And just know that usually every week, Monday night, 8 p.m., we go live to do a live in-depth training. So Brian's here on the live. Laurie's here on the live. Heather, thank you for joining. Michelle, thank you so much for joining. Good to see you. Brian says hi. He's here. Laurie's on the live. And Lisa, thank you so much for joining, Lisa. Thanks for tuning in. So things have been a little bit chaotic in terms of the schedule and craziness, but sometimes craziness is good. And so let's put tonight's topic into context for you. So this is actually the 6th straight live. So, hey guys, I might be a little bit late these past 2 weeks, but give me a little credit here. We're on a streak of 6 in a row of live trainings with in-depth content that I curated just for you and just for this purpose. So since 2020, we've done 6 straight weeks in a row. And in that first week, what we covered was really the foundation of how to run stronger and healthier without getting injured. We really laid out kind of the Spark blueprint, as I call it, right? Which had these 5K healthy tips for how to run and stay healthy. So we kind of laid out the framework there, right? We kind of like set the table, and now these 5 weeks after, we've gone in depth and kind of tackled each of those topics and really went in depth to those topics. So remember, in that first week, we talked about the importance of strength training to run, which was the first tip of the 5 tips for healthy running. These are otherwise, remember, known as your prehab exercises. So remember, meaning that they're to be done to prevent injuries as opposed to only doing specific exercises whenever you do get injured as part of your rehab for recovering from that injury. So remember, that's kind of the whole genesis of why I started this Facebook group to begin with. Was I do love helping runners recover from injury, but I would love to be able to have a greater impact in helping you prevent injuries so you can continue running, you can continue training for those races. So the second tip that we talked about was adding in jump training. So that was the second week. The third week, we talked about the importance of weight bearing and single leg exercises. So we really got into depth to that, gave you a bunch of exercises. And last week, we talked about the fourth tip, which was taking care of your soft tissue and doing some self-mobility drills, whether it's kind of self-mobility with the foam roller. We talked about stretches, what types of stretches, when to stretch, before run, after run. I dropped a bunch of exercises for you guys to be able to implement on your own with the YouTube links to those exercises last week. So now we're actually getting into the fifth tip, which is not anything actually you can do for your own body from a physical standpoint. So this isn't your muscle imbalances that you have in your body. This is really resulting in the training that you're doing in order to run. Let's get into training, because I'll tell you a story. I've been there before. So let's get into story time here. So going back to when I first started running 8 years ago, after my hip arthroscopy surgery for the labral repair that I had, and I started running, I would go out there and go as hard as I could every single run, because that's what I knew running was. It was a form of cardiovascular exercise to get lean, get trim, to get cut up, right? So I always loved working out in the gym, and that was how I viewed running. And I would go out there hard. So I got proximal hamstring tendinopathy, so pain in the top of the butt area, the top of the hamstring, and that killed me for like a year, basically. So until I found out the proper strategies to get better from that, which now I'm able to help so many of you out with issues just like hamstring. I also had knee pain. So I also had kneecap pain, tracking problems, patellofemoral pain. I also had chronic posterior tib pain. And all of these overuse running injuries that I see a lot at Spark Physical Therapy are the result of usually training errors. Yes, there are some underlying muscle imbalances, and I had those muscle imbalances when I was still recovering from my surgery because my glute wasn't turning on, right? So there was some muscle imbalances there where I was still weak, but it was really my training that was the big problem and why I did get injured. So I'm just realizing this now. There are so many new people that we got in the group this week. I feel like I should introduce myself because you may not know who I am. So I am Dr. Dwayne Scotty. I'm a physical therapist with Spark Physical Therapy, where we help runners stay on the pavement doing what they love without pain, rest, or multiple trips to the doctors. So as I just mentioned, kind of adult onset runner, past 8 years, have run 49 road races, 21 half marathons, and now I like to kind of bring my experience from being a sports physical therapist for my last 17 years now, and my experience as a runner, and bring that, package it all together, especially with my strength and conditioning background, to help runners like you stay healthy. And that was the whole point of making this group here. And if you are watching this on the YouTube channel, thank you so much for watching. We have a Spark Physical Therapy YouTube channel at Spark Your Training. So you can head over and check out some of the content there. So now let's get into the topic of today. So we kind of talked about my flaws of why I did get injured with training flaws. And those of you who are on here on the live right now, just let me know. Tam, thank you so much for joining. Sundar, thank you so much for joining. Good to see you guys. Good to see the fellas jumping on here. And let me know right now, how many days are you running, part of your training? So if you guys here on the live, just type in how many days you're currently running. I'm kind of curious to see how many days everyone is running. Also, those of you that are here on the live, let me know where you are in your running career, if you will. Are you a beginner? Are you a intermediate, or are you advanced runner? Let me know. That will help shape some of the kind of discussion points that I have for you to talk about kind of proper training in order to stay healthy. So let me know in the comment box below, please. Lori says 2. All right, so Lori's running 2 times during the week. Hopefully you are doing some strength training as well, Lori. Anyone else? Let me know. Let me know. Drop it in the comment box below. I will tell you my answer used to be 6 days a week. And now I have, this past year pretty much, I dropped down to either 4 or 5 days a week. And part of that was because of time factor, right? So things have been super crazy in terms of the business, as well as being on here with all of you and dedicating the time that I do to prepare for tonight's lives and putting all this content on YouTube and launching the podcast soon. Wait for that announcement. It's coming soon, guys. Coming soon. I'm very excited about that. Pumped about that. So Sundar says 4 days. Lori is rehabbing right now. So that makes sense why you are 2 days. And Jess, thank you so much for jumping on here. Jess, let me know how many days are you running right now? Drop it in the comment box, and then let me know if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced level runner. So I want to know who's on and how we can kind of shape tonight's topic and content. So now I'm down to about 4 or 5 days, and I think that's actually a little bit more beneficial. So a little bit of silver lining because I have been super busy. But so if you are running, right, especially this is for the beginners out there, the novices, I know there are a bunch of people in this group who just jumped in who are kind of the beginner level. You definitely want to think of running more frequently throughout the week and should be running at minimum 3 days a week. So at minimum, you should have 2 runs during your week that is kind of an easy run, right? So you're running at a comfortable pace that you can actually have a conversation with someone. So you're not kind of panting, you're not short of breath. You're able to actually hold a conversation like a conversational pace for at least 20 or 30 minutes, 2 days a week. Then you should have 1 day dedicated to a quote unquote long run, right? So whatever that long run is for you, it might be 3 miles, it might be 4, 5, 6, at least running for 40 minutes to an hour, right? Usually we do those on the weekend because we have a little bit more time on the weekend. But you should think about doing a long run day and then having 2 runs at least during the week that's at this easier pace. So that is terms of frequency, trying to be more frequent. Those of you that are jumping on here on the live, just type in live. And if you're watching this on the replay, just type in replay. Melanie, thank you so much for tuning in, jumping on within our Cheshire Half Marathon program. So happy to have you. And those of you guys that don't know, if you haven't seen the many posts that I have shared, I'm super excited about this program. We have just about 20 runners right now in this program. Tonight is the last night to get in, so you need to take action. So if you're looking for a little spark, give you a little kick in the butt, get a little guidance, coaching. So we have Clay Tebbets, who is an experienced triathlon coach, running coach, who's going to be providing you with an online training program. You're going to have it on a digital platform. We're going to have a closed Facebook community group for everyone doing this group leading up to Cheshire, as well as doing some in-person group runs Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. So if you've been wanting to do a program and want some guidance and not sure, you need to be told essentially like, hey, Monday, run 3 miles at an easy pace. Wednesday, you're going to run, maybe you're a little bit more experienced runner and you're going to be in our intermediate advanced program, then maybe you're going to be doing some speed work on Wednesday. And if you want to know how many miles you should be doing that, we're going to provide that for you. And we're going to provide how fast you should be going on your long run days. So if you need that guidance, then don't miss out on this opportunity. Trust me, I think this is going to be very, very exciting to kind of get this group together with one goal in mind: either run your first half marathon or run a PR at your half marathon, at your next one. So accountability, coaching, motivation, everything's going to be there. We have a nice supportive group of all the runners, honestly, that are in there now. This is a supportive group. This is going to be a supportive team. So if you're looking for that support that you need, this is an excellent value offer. And tonight's the last night. So you guys got to get in. So I will drop the link, or honestly, someone type in link into the comment box because I may forget when I get off. Type in link into the comment box. I will drop it right when I get off. So thank you very much. So Sundar says he is intermediate to advanced. Jill, thank you so much for joining. All right, so the first tip that we talked about for training is running more frequently. So at least running 3 days a week. Next tip number 2, is going to be to slow down. So again, I mentioned my story before. this was my problem, is I thought every run needed to be going at 100%, like high octane. And again, that was more from the mindset of doing running as part of cardio to kind of increase metabolism, like burn some calories, right? Get lean. That was why I was running. Now I'm a runner because I'm a runner, right? I want to run until I'm literally in the box, right? So I want to run until I'm 100. So how many of you want to run into your 90s? Like, seriously, that's my goal. I want to be taking some medals. I want to take some race medals in the 90s. I want to be like killing it in the 90 age group. Let me know in the comment box if anyone has envisioned that as well, or like is at awe of the folks in their 70s and their 80s that are killing road races right now. I love seeing them. Christine, so good to see you. Thank you for jumping on here. Candace is on. Morgan's on. Thank you for joining, guys. Appreciate it. So that is my goal, is to run for the long run. So if you want to run for the long run, then you need to slow down. Okay? Many people are doing like basically speed work every single time they run and are wondering why they're getting shin splints, wondering why they're getting tendonitis, wondering why they're getting Achilles pain. So this really results and looks at the variable of training intensity. So you're going too intense every single run. And so intensity is really like looking at how intense your workouts are. So as a beginner, you want to really think about doing more of that conversational jogging pace that we talked about before. And sometimes you might need to run walk in order to get that conversational pace. If you can't keep a conversation, then you're going out too hard. So you want to think about, especially for the beginners, this is really for the beginner runner out there. If you are in the beginning phase, you want to think about, for your first 3 months of training, that you're developing your running base. So you need to establish that base, and you want to do that for your first 3 months. So you want to think about really making sure every run is at that conversational pace. So you might need to take walking breaks as needed, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You're still building that base up to allow your body to adapt to the demands of running and the forces that are implied with running. All right. So rather than going at your full run pace and how fast you're going, you really want to kind of slow down. It's about building up your running fitness and allowing your body to adapt, right? And get yourself in a consistent routine. So consistency is key. All right. So remember, this fifth tip in the Spark Blueprint, it was the K of Spark, and it was keep consistent and train smart with proper progression. So you want to be consistent. And how do you be consistent? So I have a question for those of you who are on the live right now. Do you know how long it takes for a new behavior to become automatic? So let me know. Drop it in the comment box. How many days does it take for new behavior to become automatic? So as I'm waiting for you guys' responses here, Lisa says that PR, the 90 to 95 age group. Yes, I know. I knew you had that goal, Lisa. I knew, like, thinking alike there. So let me know, guys. How many days does it take to create a habit to be automatic? I know myself, it's tough building habits, right? So getting into that habit, I've always had a habit of being consistent with gym routine as well as running. That hasn't been an issue. It took me a habit to get on a weekly kind of email sequence habit, right? To reach out to many of you who are subscribers, and you've seen my 3 Sparks Free Weekend emails. And that was a habit that took a while. It took a habit to get on here every Monday night. I dedicate my time to you, right? So that was a habit. And I've been doing that since really consistently since last June, I would say. So how many days? So Lori says 60 days. Lisa says 14 days. So apparently, now I did not fact check this, okay? But apparently Google says it takes 60 days, 66 days. So Lori, you're the big winner. Lori's the big winner. 66 days apparently, and I did not fact check that, for a new behavior to become automatic and become a habit. So again, if you're new to running, you're not in it. This isn't a sprint. right? It's a marathon. So you're going to be in it for the long run. In order to be consistent with your running, so you can actually run consistently for a good 3 months, you need to slow down. Because if you go too fast, you're going to have too much pain, and then you're going to get injured, and you're not going to be able to run in the long run. So how many people have heard about the run-walk method? Anyone heard about the run-walk method? Just type in me into the comment box. So Lori's the big winner. And so the run-walk method, let me know if you've heard about it. And this can be something that is recommended for new runners just getting started, or apparently it has been also recommended for experienced runners looking to actually improve their race time, believe it or not. So Olympian and kind of famous coach Jeff Galloway, he kind of was big into this, and he kind of proposed this run-walk method. And his kind of philosophy is that you're not really walking when you're tired, actually. So contrary to what you may think, you're not going to walk when you're like totally fatigued out like I am in like a race, right? Where you're like struggling, like mile 10 or 11, you get that water break and you're like, I'm going to walk this one because you need to like recover. But taking frequent walking breaks first before you get fatigued, and then you build up your ratio of walk run. So for me, the clients that I help that are either starting to run or recovering from surgery or recovering from injury, a lot of times I like to use this kind of walk-run method to build their running base back up, or to start a running base. So for an example, guys, beginners, some examples are walk-run. So you'd maybe run 10 to 30 seconds, and then you're going to walk 1 to 2 minutes. So it's almost like a 50% ratio, let's say. So you're going to run 30 seconds, let's say, and then let's use easy numbers here. And then you're going to walk for a minute. So you're just going to double that for walking. And then you just repeat that for the duration of your run, however long duration. Sometimes I'll repeat that for 4 intervals. Maybe if someone had some pain and I was just getting them going back into starting running. And then this is super effective, guys. If you've ever been injured and you've been told that you have an injury and you're not to run for the next 2 weeks, a lot of times you're able to do a walk run, and you're able to honestly maintain your sanity, and you're not going to do any harm to your tissues, and you may even do more benefit to your tissues. So the walk run method can be very beneficial, that I found in working with many of the clients that I work with, so they don't have to stop running. So the next phase is like an intermediate phase, where here now we switch it a little bit. So now you'll maybe run 1 to 5 minutes, let's say, and then walk 1 to 2 minutes. So you've almost like flip-flopped, where you're running more than you are walking. And then you just repeat those cycles. And then for the experienced runner, maybe you're going to run 6 to 8 minutes, and then you walk 30 seconds. So it's like a short, brief break, 30 seconds to a minute. And then you're flip-flopping like that. So you're adding in these little brief walk periods. If anyone's ever done a walk run, let me know in the comment box. So Sundar actually says he does use this. That's right, Sundar. I do remember you commenting on that in previous posts. And I'm kind of curious, Sundar, if the Jeff Galloway method, absolutely. So Wes just jumped on. She said she's a little late. Wes, you're going to want to hear this, because what I'm talking about is walk-run method, and especially good for beginner runners. So this will be effective for you. Kurt, so good to see you. Thank you for jumping on here, bud. So Sundar, let me know what intervals you find helpful, because I know you've been doing this for a while. So I'm sure a lot of people can benefit from your expertise using this method. How many minutes do you run for, and then how long do you walk? Are you doing 30 seconds, or are you doing a minute walk in between? And then second question, not to bombard you, but I'm kind of curious myself, because I've never actually utilized this run-walk method, is what distances when you're only training for a full marathon? Like I know you did the Hartford Marathon, or would you also do this in your training for like a half? I know you just did a recent half marathon. So let me know, are you just doing this for the fulls? Are you doing it for halves? Do you always do this? Let us know. I'm sure many people in the group would love to hear your experience. All right, so that's the walk-run method. And so it's really great for anyone starting out to run, or those that are kind of coming back from an injury and you're building back your base and your running fitness. What's up, Gabs? You want to say hi? Gabby's going to say hi. This was grown Nala in the Lion King. play. So she did a fantastic performance. Her first drama performance, official drama. She did a summer program, but this one's the first school one. So she did a great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Getting ready for bed?
Yes.
All right, cool. Thank you. Thanks for saying hi. So, all right. So I think that's tip number 2 there. So Sundar says 4 minutes run with a 1 minute walk. Finish my marathon in 4:52. So yeah, that's a really good time. Like if you think about that, you're walking for a minute every 5 minutes. I wouldn't even think you'd be able to finish in that time. So that's pretty remarkable. It's definitely interesting. Then also let me know, do you do that for halves as well for your half training? I'm kind of curious to hear. So guys, if you are coming on here on the live, just type in live into the comment box, and you're watching this in a replay. Thank you so much for watching, first and foremost, and just type in hashtag team replay so I can give you a shout out. All right, so let's get to tip number 3. Hold on my 3 fingers there. Tip number 3 is gradually build up your training volume. So for you want to think about your training volume as like a slow, gradual, like if you were running up a gradual incline, a slow, gradual hill. You're not going to go up the steepest hill that you would run. So like the slope of your line, for my science geeks out there, is not going to be here, is going to be more like here. So your training volume, so what I mean by that is that the total work that you do should not increase by more than 10 to 20% of your weekly volume. All right. So those of you who are not really great with numbers, as my wife will tell you, but those of you who are, let's do easy math here. If you're running 10 miles a week, then you're going to want to increase by 10%, which would be adding 1 mile, right? So the next week you're going to run 11 miles total. So you don't want to go up these dramatic jumps in mileage and workload total volume. So you don't want to go from 10 to 15 and 15 to 18 or 15 to 22, right? You want to have a nice gradual build in your total volume. So you want to think about that because, again, you need your body, you need your bones, your muscles, your tendons to adapt to the forces of running. All right, so remember, when you run, it's 3 to 6 times your body weight that's coming down on the pavement every single time. Your tissues are remarkable. They can adapt. They can withstand that force, but it takes time to build it up. So you have to allow your body to build up by gradually building up your training volume. So I hope that kind of makes sense for everyone. 10 miles 1 week, and then next week going 11 miles. All right. So guys, actually, one thing I didn't ask you, has anyone ever, I'm kind of curious here, if anyone's ever been to Denver before, give me some tips. What should I be seeing in Denver? I would love to hear because I'm going to be heading there and I would love to find out. So Sundar says, yes, for the half also. Did the last time at Hogs Best half, finished the half in 2 hours and 7 minutes. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so that's interesting that Sundar, that's a very interesting training philosophy. Like I said, I've never tried it. Thank you for sharing your experience. I appreciate it. And hopefully that helps some other people as well. Keith, good to see you. Thanks so much for jumping on here. And we are getting to tip number 4 in how to train smart with proper progression and being consistent with your training. So tip number 4 is actually not going to be relate to running at all, believe it or not. It's going to be relating to resting and recovering, right? So you need to implement rest and cross-training into your training in order to run. So you shouldn't feel guilty about this if you take a day off of running. Your body needs it after all the grueling miles that you put in, and sometimes less is more, especially if you have a history of overuse injuries such as chronic tendonitis, shin splints, stress fractures, all those overuse type injuries. You definitely want to implement rest and recovery into your training. So cross training on the non-running days, and then also 1 day a week, you should have total rest. Total rest for me, it's Sundays. Soon, we're going to be training on Sundays for our Cheshire program. So it will be Saturdays for me. So you definitely want to implement 1 day of total rest. For me, the other days, I'm cross training at the gym 3 days a week. But you want to think about that rest and recovery. So how many of you implement cross training into your program that are here on the live? Let me know type in cross training into the comment box. Hopefully you guys have been learning a little bit of something that we've been doing in this group, and you've been implementing some cross training into your program. So last tip, guys, fifth and final tip for how to train smart with proper progression is going to be to find the right training plan for you and your present level of fitness. So there are many different training plans out there that you can get online, but how do you know if it's the right one for you? So you need to make sure that you are reading these training plans, seeing if they're for a beginner, intermediate, advanced, knowing what you've done in the past. So if you've run a half marathon before, for example, what did you do then? Did you get injured? If you got injured during that training cycle, then maybe the training was too intense. So you want to think about maybe this time around, you go with a less intense plan so you don't get injured, and you do that healthy, and then you're able to build up. So perhaps you kind of built up too quick with that training volume, or you added too many variables in there. And then that will give me kind of a little aside here is I didn't mention before with training intensity, I should have speed work. Speed work. So any type of speed work you're doing, whether it's intervals on the track, so you're doing repeat 400s, 800s, repeat 1200s, you're doing a 4, an 8, a 12, right? You're doing all these different types of track workouts, or you're doing a tempo run. So what is a tempo run? Tempo run is going to where you're running 1 mile at a kind of easy pace, and then the middle of your run, let's say you did a 5-mile tempo run, 1 mile easy, 3 miles faster pace. So almost at race pace, not quite, but definitely faster than you're pushing it. You're kind of winded. You're working. It's almost like if you're doing a half marathon training plan, you're almost getting to like your race pace, maybe not quite, right? And then you're going to do 1 mile of rest or easy mile at the end. So that's kind of what we call a tempo run. You can also do fartleks, where you are going a certain distance at a faster pace, and then you are doing a easier kind of run after that. So there's all these different types of speed work, and I would even throw in hills into that. If you're trying to run up a steep hill, like sprinting up hills, hill sprints, that is all considered when I say speed work. You should never be implementing that in your training if you have never run that distance before. So if you've never run a half marathon before, your half marathon training plan should not contain any of those. None whatsoever. You should be doing easy runs and long runs. That's how you're building up your half training. If you're more experienced in your goal and you've got a couple halves under your belt and you're looking to improve your time, then that's when you add in the speed work, because now you have this running base built up, right? Your body has been able to adapt. You can do that healthy without getting injured. So again, guys, if you are looking for a training plan and you're running Cheshire, we would love to guide you. Clay and I would love to guide you in getting the right plan for your current running fitness. So we are doing that. We are getting all of your information as far as previous race times, or if this is your first race. And we have a lot of beginners in there as well. And it doesn't matter what your level of running is, how fast you can run. We have some folks that are signed up and they might not even do the half distance because they might not be able to build up to that. They might do the 5K. But the important thing is that they're out there and they're going to be training. They're going to be actually getting more fit than they've ever been before. And they're going to make it a habit, and they're going to be consistent, and they're going to be running for those 66 days, right? So that's how long it takes to be consistent and be a habit. And then they're going to run for the long run, and they're going to be healthier because of that. So we would love to be able to help you and guide you in that training plan. So again, guys, I'm going to drop that link into the comment box below. Check it out. Tonight's the night. So if you're watching this on the replay, I might let you slip by if you sign up Tuesday morning and you're watching this on the replay, because I know a lot of people are already in bed tonight. But this is it. This is your last chance. All right. So let's sum up. Let's do a little review of where we are. Again, this is tip number 5 in the Spark Blueprint. So congratulations to all of you who have completed the first 5K tips on how to be a healthy runner that we've kicked off 2020 with. And now you have the information here, and all you need to do is take action on it. So you need to take action and implement. It's always good to consume information, but some people don't take the action that's necessary. So I am more of an action taker, and I consume a lot of information, but I do take action. So my only ask of you is take action. So actually implement these strategies that we talked about in tonight's live, implement the exercise I've talked about in the previous 5 lives. And if you've missed any of those, you definitely want to go back. Remember, you can find everything within our Healthy Runner Facebook group in the Topics tab. In your phone, at the top, if you go to the homepage of Healthy Runner, swipe over all the way to the right, you're going to see Topics. Hit Topics, find Monday Night Spark. You're going to find all of the live trainings we've done on Monday Night Spark, and you can find the last 5 that we've done as part of this Spark Blueprint. This is the foundation, guys. This is it. What we're going to be doing for the rest of the year is really getting some other topics, and we're going to do some great interviews with experts in the field. If you have a topic you want to hear about, let me know in the comment box below, and I would love to kind of present that information to you, do some research myself, bring on an expert who could speak about that topic. All right, so so let's kind of get a little recap here, wrap up what we covered in tonight's episode. We talked about 5 tips really to keep consistent, train smart with proper progression. And tip number 1 was to run at least 3 days a week. So having your training frequency, doing at least 2 days during the week, 1 long run day. Tip number 2 was to slow down. Don't go out too hard every time. You're in it for the long run. You want to be able to run for that long run. Tip 3 was gradually build up your training volume. Okay, gradual, not a steep climb, right? We're in it slow and steady, wins the race. And then tip 4 is going to be to rest and recover. So adding in the rest days, adding in the cross training days. Tip 5 was to find the right training plan for you. Make sure it is the right training plan for your running fitness. If anything I said, guys, resonated with you, please hit that like, hit the love button. It just helps this video reach more runners like you so we can help them run healthy, run smart, and be able to train with proper progression. Remember, go back, find each of the tips. I'm excited about the rest of the content plan for 2020. We're going to be talking training. We're going to be talking sneakers. We're going to be talking nutrition. We're going to be talking running mindset. We're going to be talking prehab for runners. So we got a lot of great topics that I'm going to be bringing to you. So remember, every Monday night, 8 p.m., tune in. Also, guys, if you have running friends who are not in this group, share it with them. I know, thank you for those of you who have recommended the group. I know a bunch of the new people that jumped in this week were recommendations by people in the group. So if that was you, thank you so much. And Lisa says full marathon training, getting ready for New York City 26.2. Gina, good to see you. Thank you for jumping on here. You're going to want to watch the replay. You missed the whole live, so you're going to want to catch that replay. Also, guys, thank you so much for taking your time. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Seriously, you guys are an amazing community. This has been amazing what we're kind of building here in this Healthy Runner group, and that's why I'm looking to work with many of you who are in this group for this Cheshire Half Marathon program. Check out the details in the link that I'm about to drop. Remember, every Monday night, 8 p.m., tune in into the live, get it on your schedule. Thank you so much. Stay active, stay healthy, and just keep running. All right, until next time, guys, have a good night. Bye. Heading to Denver.